Hello. Before we begin, I want to say thank you for supporting Sorco. Without you, they would not be able to rehabilitate the birds they do. We're almost ready to start assembling our project. You'll notice the material you have purchased does not include some material. Make sure you have these items before beginning. They are noticed on your instruction sheet and can be seen here. Step number 1. We're going to be making marks along both outside edges of these boards. Okay, we're going to first off orient the board so we have the good side facing out. Any imperfections of the wood that we may have, such as marks on here, previous lines that somebody may have created, damage to the wood, we want to try and conceal it on the inside of our birdhouse. Okay, so we're going to start by taking our combination square. Actually, you guys are going to use a ruler and a pencil. I'm using a black felt marker so you can see the lines. The pencils do not show up very well on video. Okay, so we're going to take and make our marks in 3/8 of an inch from the edge of our boards. Okay, so we're going to mark 3/8 of an inch in. This is going to be the line that we're going to nail this down to our backs afterwards. Okay, so 3/8 of an inch in. That's going to get it right in the middle of the board when we nail these together. Okay, make a dot at the top and the bottom, and then put your ruler across the two dots and draw a continual line through the dots. This should be parallel to the outside edge. And a step a little bit later on, this is what we're going to be following to put our nails in. This is going to be our nail guide. That way we know our nails are going to go right through the middle of the board that we're nailing it to, and they shouldn't come through the side. Okay, so that's the back, and letter C is the front side. So let's mark these ones again too. 3/8 of an inch in, and we're going to go 3/8 of an inch in. Same thing at the top, and the other side, and let's connect the dots. When you make these marks in pencil, and you want to get rid of the marks afterwards, they're very easy to do. Pencil marks sand off very easily. Felt marker lines like these ones, they don't sand off so easy. They can be sanded off, but they don't sand off easy. So depending if you want to paint or stain your birdhouse, I'm going to say it's probably best left unfinished, so the birds will actually go inside. They don't always like the smells of paints and stains that go inside them. We as humans like them because it makes it look pretty. Next step is we're going to put the lines on board with the letter D. These are the two sides. You'll notice on these two boards they have some holes drilled in them. We're going to orient them so that two of the holes are at the bottom, two of the holes are at the top. These are simply air ventilation holes so the air can move in and out of the bird box. Okay, we're going to make our mark on here 3/8 of an inch from the bottom of the edge of the board. Okay, we're going to do them one at a time. I'm going to grab our square, and we're going to make our line 3/8 of an inch up on one end, and we're going to do 3/8 inch up on the other, and then we're going to simply connect the dots. Okay, let's do the same thing on the next board. 3/8 of an inch up, 3/8 of an inch up. Now these lines, this is where we're going to be putting nails in here afterwards. This is what's going to connect the bottom of the box to the sides. Okay, we're going to drive some nails in here right away too. When you're driving nails, make sure you are on a surface that you can actually drive the nails into. That doesn't matter if you damage it a little bit. Okay, the nails on here, we're going to place the nails equal distances apart. Our board measures 5.5 inches across. So we want to get, if we want it right in the middle, we want 2 3/4 inches. So I'm going to put a little mark there. And I want to drive the inches in, or the nails in, about 1 inch from each edge. So 1 inch is going to be over here, and I'm going to subtract 1 from 5.5. So the other mark on the opposite side is going to be at 4.5. I'm going to transfer those marks to the other board that we have. And one thing you're going to notice on this one, I'm going to mark the two 1 inch ones first. Okay. 1 inch nails get very close to that knot. Knots are extremely hard to drive nails into. So what you may want to do if you want to drive a nail in here, you could actually drill a hole in there if you have availability to a drill. and drill a small hole in there, or what I would more than likely do is just place my nail off to the side a little bit so you're not having to drive it through the knot. Knots are extremely hard to drive nails through. Okay, so we're going to take our square away. We're going to move our board to the edge. On my workbench here, my edge is very solid. It has a lot of support in there. Actually, it has the best support right about here on the workbench. Now we're going to take a nail and we're going to set the nail. Okay. We're going to drive it through so that it's not all the way through, but we want a good starting point in there. And this nail, you can see the height on there, it's just about all the way through. If you happen to drive it all the way through, you will be nailing it down into your tabletop, just like I did there. That one was a little bit too far down. Okay. This happens to be mom and dad's table in the kitchen. You might want to put something underneath it so you don't do that. Okay. We're doing this in the workshop here, so the workshop you can damage your workbench a bit. You notice that one was also into a knot, which makes it a little bit harder to drive in. Step number 3. We're going to have our boards D that we just drove the nails into ready to go. Also going to grab board E. Board E has the 4 holes in it. This is the bottom of the birdhouse. I'm going to take and put it with the long edge on the table and put the long edge up. We're going to put a little bit of glue on here. We just want to place a small amount of glue on that edge. Don't want a whole lot. If we put too much glue on there, it's going to squish out all over the place. Now we're going to put this on the edge of our table so we can actually drive our nails into it. Now we're going to be nailing the side in there. So carefully place this down on top of the bottom edge. And it might take 2 of you to hold this up here. I'm going to try and do it by myself. Okay. Once we have the edges lined up where we want, because we had those nails driven almost all the way through, one good tap with a hammer now and it should actually set it in place. Okay, so we got the one nail in, and let's make sure everything is still aligned here. If everything's still aligned, now we're going to drive the next one in, and the last one we're going to drive the last nail in. Okay, once we've got them all set, now we can just finish driving in the nails the rest of the way. Okay, that's one side done. Now we're just going to flip it over and we're going to take the opposite side. Okay. Again, we're just going to put a thin bead of glue on here. You'll notice I have my glue bottle laying on its side. My glue bottle is over half empty, so that way the glue comes out the end for you. Okay. If your bottle is full, stand it upright because otherwise it will run out on you. Okay. So we're going to take the next side here, make sure all the edges are flush. They all have to be flat up against the other surfaces. And let's take and let's drive these nails in one by one. Okay, that one moved. Okay, so let's try this one again. That one wasn't quite all the way through first time, so let's, there we go. Now that one went in. Okay, now the next two, these ones are going to be a little more difficult because remember, these ones are getting very close to the knot, and the knots are really hard material to drive nails through. So let's try this. Okay, those ones are now in there. Step 3 is now complete. Step number 4. We're going to set some nails into these boards. And the nails we're going to set in there are going to be all from the bottom edge. We're going to try and stay away from the knot here. We're going to go from the bottom edge. We want to place a nail at the 1-inch mark, at the 3.5-inch mark, and at the 6-inch mark. Okay. Let's mark those same positions for the top board. So we want to do 1 inch, 3.5, and 6 inches. Okay, these nails we're going to set in there the same way we did with the sides. We're going to set the nails in there so they don't go all the way through, because we do not want to drive it down into our tabletop. Remember, when you're driving nails in, got to try and get them as straight as possible in there. Usually 1 tap to get it started. Just let it sit, and then give it 1 fairly firm tap in order to get it to set inside. Okay, give it a tap and drive it down. Tap and drive it down. Okay. This is now ready to be nailed onto D and E that we assembled in the previous step. Okay, so in order to put this one on here for us, we're going to take these letters away. We know which boards we're working with now. We're going to take this whole assembly and we're going to put some glue all the way around the outer edge. Okay. So the glue we're going to put down here. Just again, a thin bead of glue. We don't want to put too much glue on there, otherwise it's going to get all over us and all over the kitchen table or the workbench or whatever it is we're working on. If we get too much glue down there, well, we got to clean it up. If you do happen to get too much glue down and you make a bit of a mess, no worries. Okay, grab a wet rag until the glue sets up. It is completely water soluble. It is a latex glue you should be using. Okay, so you can wipe it off with a damp rag. So now this board we're going to take and we're going to place it on top of this assembly we made before, making sure that the bottom is flush with our box. Okay, the sides need to be flush as well. Step number 5. I'm going to go back to board number B. Board B is actually the top for our birdhouse. It has a little bit of ledge sticking out to cover up the hole, a place for the birds to land on and sit there, and a place where we can nail it up against our post. Okay, so we're going to take board B off. Let's move this to the back of our workbench for now. See, we got some glue on our workbench. Grab yourself a damp rag, and because the glue is still not set, it wipes off quite nicely for us. Okay, any glue, just take and pick it up. Okay, so our board B, we're going to orient it sideways for it, and we're going to make a mark 3/8 of an inch in from the long edges on both sides. So grab your ruler again, and we're going to make a mark 3/8 of an inch in on the top, left and right sides, and we'll go 3/8 of an inch on the bottom here. Then we're going to connect those lines. These guys, and then I'm going to mark the locations for our nails. Our nails in this one are going to be at 1 inches, 3 inches, and 6 inches. Okay, so we're going to mark 1 inch, and make sure you mark all your 1 inch ones from the same edge. 1, 3, and 6. 1, 3, 6. And then we know when we measure here, the nails are going to go at 1 inch, at 3 inches, and at 6 inches, right at the edge. Okay? Take the nails, and again, just going to move it to the edge of our table, and we're going to set the nails in again. Turn the board around, Make it easier for us. Okay. Still on step 4, we're going to take our bottom now. Going to take our bottle of glue one last time, and we're going to glue this edge. Bead glue all the way around. And take this board, make sure the nails are at the backside edge on there. And we're going to drive the nails down, one by one. Move it up to the edge of our table, a little more support. And one by one the nails will go down. We have our birdhouse complete. The back, the roof, with a hole for the birds to go in, sides, ventilation holes, and the bottom with more vents. Enjoy your project. You're now complete.